He said he said he was going to do it. If we won the cup, we won the cup. I won't do it till after the World Cup. Now he won't do it unless we win another cup. The guy is impossible. There's a Glamour article. Did you guys see it? Oh, Jesus. Hold on a second. Hello? Hello? All right, nice. Get off my phone. So there's a Glamour article, right? And it has like athlete makeovers. Has a little picture of his ponytail. It's all yikes. Nice. Can't wait to put that one in the locker room. I'm excited about that one. Hold on, I'm gonna put it in vibrate right there. So I'll have this huge smile if anyone calls.
Yeah. Just like the scene in Swordfish.
Yeah.
When he's trying to crack the safe and the girl's working on it.
Joe looks so happy during the interview. All right. Anyway, enough of the shenanigans. Look all right?
Yes, sir.
Good, nice.
So you get the sweat, get your sweat spot out.
Yeah. Is the collar okay for you guys?
Joe, who do you hate coming down going one-on-one? What forward do you hate to see?
Diallo, for sure. Diallo, because you know, even if he takes a bad touch, he's going to hit you. As a goalie, Mike Ahman knows it. I think it was Aiden Brown that knows it the other day. But there's no other man in the league that I think one-on-one, I think he's just reckless. So he's like one of those guys in club soccer that just didn't know when to pull up, you know. And as a goalie, you don't like to see that.
2006 comes around. Some guys are going to be back from the national team.
Yep.
Marcus Beasley, we think, Landon Donovan. But what other players around MLS have impressed you that you think will be part of that team?
You know, I think a couple guys on San Jose that I can see because I watch them day in and day out. Both Richard Mulrooney and Wade Barrett are going to make a good shot at that team. Wade's kind of a sleeper. I think Mulrooney's been called in a little bit, but I think Wade's the kind of the sleeper one in that one. You know, as far as, you know, around the league, it really depends. I mean, 4 years is a long time. I can see a guy like Mike Pecky, you know, being there. Even Tim Howard, you know, depending on Friedel's situation at the time. I mean, Timmy's done a great job playing with New York the last couple of years, and if he continues to do well, you know, I don't see any reason, you know, that he might not be in Germany. But, you know, that's my time as well. So as far as thinking about other players, I'm kind of selfish in the fact that, you know, I want to work and think about getting myself there first, and then hopefully I can look around the room and tell you who's in there. But we'll see. It's 4 years away, and it's a lot of hard work, a lot of breaks, and you know, just a lot of sweat and tears in between. You know, I think blood, sweat, and tears is that phrase. I think Pecky was using it before or something. So we'll see. But and I think. You know, Pete Marino, I don't know if he's an American player, but he's impressed me from Columbus. I'm just trying to top of my head to give you guys some names. You know who?
Would you say, you mean Kyle Martino?
Kyle Martino, sorry. Pete Marino is freaking out of nowhere. Yeah, and then, you know, there's some guys like Santino you don't know about, Bobby you don't know about, guys that have made good. Even Taylor Twellman, you know, might be an upcoming forward that you see in there. I mean, scoring, you know, what, 15, 16 goals his rookie campaign is absolutely unheard of, you know. I live with Landon. I love giving Landon a hard time about that, and so that's from. But I think, you know, I think there's even a couple names that haven't even reached MLS yet that might be on the team. You know, guys like, you know, the next Landon Donovans, the next DeMarcus Beasley, the guys that will be in their second, third year in the league.
I'm going to do something scary now.
Yeah, can you shut up back there?
I'm going to do something scary here.
Okay.
I'm going to say you can't be a goalkeeper anymore, but we're making you the MLS commissioner. What
Nice,
would you change
nice,
in MLS?
nice. Right now, I'm on the spot, huh? You know what? I think the first thing, you know, that I would change. I think the first thing I would do, expand to Rochester, New York, go upstate. I know that community. I don't know all the, you know, the stuff behind expansion and what goes into it, but just from a player's point of view, I know, you know, I've talked to the players out there. You know, they're ready to contribute big time to the league, and I think it's a good market. I think you need to find. Right now, just markets that are really, you know, wanting, you know, to go MLS. Other things that I do, obviously, raise the salary cap. He said he was going to do it. If we won the cup, we won the cup. I won't do it till after the World Cup. Now he won't do it unless we win another cup. The guy is impossible. There's a Glamour article. Did you guys see it? Oh, Jesus. Hold on a second. Hello? Hello? All right, nice. Get off my phone. So there's a Glamour article, right? And it has like athlete makeovers. Has a little picture of his ponytail. It's all yikes. Nice. Can't wait to put that one in the locker room. I'm excited about that one. Hold on, I'm gonna put it in vibrate right there. So I have this huge smile if anyone calls.
Yeah. Just like the scene in Swordfish.
Yeah.
When he's trying to crack the safe and the girl's working on it.
Joe looks a little happy during the interview. All right. Anyway, enough of the shenanigans. Look all right?
Yes, sir.
Good, nice.
So you get the sweat, get your sweat spot out.
Yeah. Is the collar okay for you guys?
Joe, who do you hate coming down going one-on-one? What forward do you hate to see?
Diallo, for sure. Diallo, because even if he takes a bad touch, he's going to hit you. As a goalie, Mike Almond knows it. I think it was Aiden Brown that knows it the other day. But there's no other man in the league that I think one-on-one. I think he's just reckless. So he's like one of those guys in club soccer that just didn't know when to pull up. And as a goalie, you don't like to see that.
2006 comes around. Some guys are going to be back from the national team.
Yep.
Marcus Beasley, we think Landon Donovan. But what other players around MLS have impressed you that you think will be part of that team?
I think a couple guys on San Jose that I can see because I watch them day in and day out. Both Richard Mulrooney and Wade Barrett are going to make a good shot at that team. Wade's kind of a sleeper. I think Mulrooney's been called in a little bit, but I think Wade's the kind of the sleeper one in that one. As far as around the league, it really depends. I mean, 4 years is a long time. I can see a guy like Mike Pecky, being there. Even Tim Howard, depending on Friedel's situation at the time. I mean, Timmy's done a great job playing with New York the last couple of years, and if he continues to do well, I don't see any reason, that he might not be in Germany. But that's my time as well. So as far as thinking about other players, I'm kind of selfish in the fact that I want to work and think about getting myself there first, and then hopefully I can look around the room and tell you who's in there. But we'll see. It's 4 years away, and it's a lot of hard work, a lot of breaks, and just a lot of sweat and tears in between. I think blood, sweat, and tears is that phrase. I think Pecky was using it before or something. So we'll see. But and I think. Pete Marino, I don't know if he's an American player, but he's impressed me from Columbus. I'm just trying to top of my head to give you guys some names. Who?
Would you say, you mean Kyle Martino?
Kyle Martino, sorry. Pete Marino, freaking out of nowhere. Yeah, and then, there's some guys like Santino you don't know about, Bobby you don't know about, guys that have made good. Even Taylor Twellman, might be an upcoming forward that you see in there. I mean, scoring, 15, 16 goals his rookie campaign is absolutely unheard of, I live with Landon. I love giving Landon a hard time about that, and so that's from. But I think, I think there's even a couple names that haven't even reached MLS yet that might be on the team. Guys like the next Landon Donovans, the next DeMarcus Beasley, the guys that will be in their second, third year in the league.
I'm going to do something scary now.
Yeah, can you shut up back there?
I'm going to do something scary here.
Okay.
I'm going to say you can't be a goalkeeper anymore, but we're making you the MLS commissioner. What would you change in MLS?
Nice. Right now, I'm on the spot, huh? You know what? I think the first thing, that I would change. I think the first thing I would do, expand to Rochester, New York, go upstate. I know that community. I don't know all the the stuff behind expansion and what goes into it, but just from a player's point of view, I know I've talked to the players out there. They're ready to contribute big time to the league, and I think it's a good market. I think you need to find. Right now, just markets that are really, wanting, to go MLS. Other things that I do, obviously, raise the salary cap. I would, make it a hardcore salary cap in the sense that, there'd be no guessing as to what players make. Everyone would know. And then there'd be free agency throughout the teams. Teams could trade, making the general managers more kind of responsible for their teams, and then the player movement, player transaction things. So now you know how much each player makes. So if a player has a good year, he can go to every team and stuff like that. But you're still keeping the same hardline salary cap. So the owners aren't spending a cent more on salaries, but players feel that they have a little more freedom in the sense that they can go to other teams, and then if you have a bad season too, you can drop a guy and he can lose money in that sense. And it's like a free market system, and it really it makes the general managers it makes that job a lot more important in the sense that they're not only thinking about crowd building, but they also have to think with their head coaches. They have to come together, and it gets the fans excited. I think in the off season you'll see more movement, and for every team, the fans will hold responsible the GMs of each team for the players that they have, and how they wheel and deal, how they get guys at good prices, how to keep players happy. And I think for me as a player, I think everyone here would like to see that. If you're, I mean, things that players don't discuss, but sometimes maybe you're just out of favor of the coach. For example, just being a goalie, it could. One coach doesn't have confidence in you, but you go somewhere else, and next thing you know, I mean, you're an all-star. So, I mean, it happens like that. So, I really think those would be the first things I do, and the latter part I'd probably do first. Actually, is make that just so fans can discuss it, and so GMs and I mean, everyone's more into it. It seems like, and there's not too much mysterious kind of stuff going on with the league, because I think with stuff like supplemental drafts and drafts created out of nowhere, I really think things like that, and salary relief budgets, you just throw that all the way out the window. And if teams are performing bad and not up to par, the people don't have to say, hey, listen, it's the league's fault for the player movements. They're not helping us out with players. It's our GM's fault. He's got to do a better job. And that's when you get guys that are going to come in there and, that don't sleep at night because they have to think more about the players that are coming in. And so it's just stuff like that. I think it, creates more of a buzz for the fans, especially during the off season, and for the players as well. You feel like, you're not trapped in a situation. If you're in San Jose, you don't have to call New York and, say, hey, listen, I kind of want to leave or something like that. I want to get traded. You don't have to have your agent do it. You can walk up to the coach, the general manager yourself, and discuss it right there. And, for the league's perspective, it takes a lot of work off Todd and Ivan's hands. And, I mean, who knows? That might even be their jobs, to be honest with you. But you know what? Those guys would probably make great general managers if they go somewhere in the league. I mean, you come and those guys know how to wheel and deal, know how to, So, I mean, I think that's definitely something I'd like to see happen. I think hopefully it will come to that, and there's no reason it shouldn't, especially if you keep that salary cap, as a hard line. That way no one's spending more money, and you don't have to be fickle about it. And I think, with the better players that we have, and with, players that are coming out of the World Cup, I think maybe even you raise the salary cap a little bit. You raise that minimum salary from $26,000 to at least 40 or 50, because we have guys making $26,000 in San Jose, which, as you know, the cost of index of living out there is ridiculous, and other things I do too is, start getting players that aren't, making that much money involved in like camps, which the club promotes. So you have like the Metro Stars, for instance, putting on camps. You have players going out there maybe 2-3 times a week, only for an hour a day, but you're supplementing their income with maybe an extra $500 to $1,000 a week, just for those appearances, because I know how much camp money make, and it's a great money market. If you have guys like Tim Howard, Mike Pecky, guys that are in the community involved going out to New York, you're going to attract more kids, which in sense, so you owe those guys, that money. Obviously, I don't think they're the ones that need that money based, but you bring out those, the local kids. So not only do you build a great relationship with your community in the sense that you're doing things in camps, but you're also getting recognition with the face, and then maybe exposing the product to a couple kids that are just going to a soccer camp.
Sort of what we're seeing outside now with the basketball team. Gary Williams from Maryland is out there.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I had no clue, who's out there, but yeah, I mean, definitely, I think the league, and it's hard from the commissioner's office standpoint because he has, 10 teams underneath, but I think they need to do a better job of making sure these organizations, are going at it the right way. I think, there should be more oversight on the direction of each individual organization, in the sense that I know in San Jose, there's no program like that. I think it would be a great in every market, because during the summer, which MLS is going on, it's the high time. You got kids that want to do soccer camps. So if you start promoting it and you start throwing out at your game, and you have the best advertising, you just have the loudspeaker over at wherever the Metro Stars play. God, I feel late. What? Giant Stadium? Meadowlands, yeah. So, I mean, so you've got that come. Kids will hear it. And you've got flyers you can pass out. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, those are just like little of the things I think that I would probably touch on my first day in the office. I mean, I think about it all the time, because I really think that there's so much potential for this league. And, I'm an idealistic person, so things always have to be perfect. So otherwise, I'm always kind of thinking about what could be better here and there. But it's tough. I mean, I know they've got a lot to think about in New York as far as things, but those are things I think that could be put in place quite easily. And I know there's probably more to it in the sense that why they don't go to a hardline salary cap, or why they're not doing overseeing each individual organization. But I mean, I think these things need to be done for soccer to really expose its product to as many people as possible. And not only that, but you're also supplementing guys' incomes. And, I think it's just a win-win situation. And also, as a commissioner, I think the first, also thing we do, establish your relationships. They're now doing a good job. You've got U.S. Soccer involved, but USYSA needs to be involved. AYSO need to be involved. We have 300,000 kids at least, I think, in the Bay Area alone playing soccer. So, just making sure those kids get, exposed to the product. And I think you're going to see that over time. I think my generation is the first, that has played soccer at a competitive basis for most of their careers. And so you're going to find people that are not only good at what they do, but also have a passion for the game. So when you bring that in the front office together, you're going to start seeing better crowds and just better organizations in general. Is that long enough for you guys?
Yes, I'll give you one more.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Hope they're not.
You're going to make the all-interview team, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I believe I'm ridiculous. I was with Grant Wall for like 45 minutes. Yeah. I just don't have this. I don't have that soundbite. He was great in the World Cup. Ray, what would you do after you tied Korea? Are you bummed you only tied? Oh, I'd be in the shower kissing lads' bums. Just going off. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Only he can say it with such elegance. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the rest of us be like, yeah, I'd be in the showers, kissing guys' asses. And everyone would be like, oh my God, what a queer. And next thing you know.
Well, I got something for him. The guy who works for me on my games also produces a lot of your games.
Yeah. What's his name?
Jeff Strauss.
Yeah.
So you know what
Good
I'll do?
guy.
I'll ask you a question about San Jose, so maybe he can use it on his stuff.
Okay.
So
No problem. Nice. You guys are so friendly behind the scenes, aren't you?
So we all work
That's
together.
just great. Big family. Good family. Also I was going to touch on too, I really think in San Jose especially, even in New York, they should start doing double headers more with the women's team. I know that both organizations, I know we lost a couple fans from them, but to be honest, when you have a double header, we were in Washington, D.C., it attracts so many more people just for the sense that you're getting a 2-for-1. Women and men come out, so you can take your, if it's girl soccer, guy soccer, both parents now have to kind of be like, oh man, I have a girl. And then, they'll most likely stay and watch a little of both. So, I mean, I know they did that in New England. We had a good crowd out there. And, sure, it's a different crowd, but I think soccer people appreciate great soccer, and to be honest, when they see MLS and WUSA put side to side, you can definitely tell that our league's playing at a pretty good caliber right now.
Joe, let's talk about your team.
Nice.
Why are you playing so well? Why is San Jose best in the league?
The environment, the locker room environment, the coaching staff has been put in place an environment that it's very competitive at every position. They're not too caught up in wins and losses, but they're caught up in playing well. So even if we're winning and guys aren't doing a good enough job, the coaches are always looking to improve that. And I think, and obviously just, how we're doing at home. I think we really get excited. I think playing in a small pitch at home has helped. But I think to touch on the first part more, it's just that locker room, the guys, it's like a family. I think guys know that, we have confidence because of the Cup last year. We've had pretty much the same team, which I think, no one talks about it, but, chemistry is so huge. If you look at New England this year, even New York at times, such talented teams that just haven't found that right network, that right chemistry. And you know what? When we play against those teams, I don't think individually, sometimes we're not as good, you say, on paper, but I think, with our team chemistry, it lends itself to it. And I think you see that because the coaching staff is really put in an environment where guys can be relaxed, be themselves, and just worry about playing soccer.
Now, speaking about chemistry, can you talk about the confidence of Landon Donovan since he's come back from World Cup?
Yeah, I'm his roommate, so I can definitely, to be honest, I think he's always been a confident kid. I think, I think his confidence really hasn't changed. I think he's always believed in himself. I just think, now it's kind of given him, I think he likes and wants to be in the MLS more now because he said to himself, hey, listen, I've played here in the MLS for 1 year. Now I went to a World Cup. I did well. I know I can play with those guys. Why do I need to go to Europe, to lift a game? He knows he can play. This league's very competitive, and that's his attitude now, and it's great. I think, I think more Americans need to take that attitude in the sense that, we shouldn't be watching these Champions League games going, hey, that's, like NBA players and, watching basketball in Europe, they look up to those NBA players going, oh, we can't do that. We shouldn't be like that watching these Champions League. We got to be like, hey, listen, we can compete with those teams. If Real Madrid comes over here, sure, we're not going to, we're not going to be able to get them the first time, or but we need to have the confidence and that mentality that when those guys step on the field, we can beat them. I don't care who they are. You got to come on, and if there's anything this World Cup can show you, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Portugal, who would have thought we were going to beat them? We were up 3-0 after 20 minutes, and we had a chance. I think McBride went wide on a header or something to make it 4-0, and you're sitting there in your living room going 4-0 against Figo, and you're and just the American mentality. And I think what's happening, you're seeing players with just a little confidence now bring that American mentality into the game, and and Landon's just a great example of that. He just uses it, and just it's the same thing when he steps on the field. Hey, I have this to offer. I'm not going to try to play out of myself, but you know what? I'm going to try my hardest. And you can even see all the games they did very well. I think they for the exception of maybe the Poland game, and that was more unlucky. I don't think we were outplayed. I think the only game we were really outplayed in was the South Korea one. Where Frito came up big, but I think all the other games, right there, and just a break or two away from a World Cup semifinal. So, Landon's just a great example, and I think you're going to see kids now, maybe some of them out on this Maryland complex, maybe some watching, the Madison Square Garden Network, just going, hey, I'm watching these guys, and I want to be like that, and you know what? One day I'm going to beat up on Rivaldo or Roberto Carlos, and you know what? I'm not going to be afraid when they step on the pitch, because I tell you, there's going to be a point in time when U.S. soccer players and U.S. soccer teams are going to have to play those teams and have to prove the rest of the world. And that's the only way that American fans are ever going to believe that this sport is number one in this country and that we're that good, is not only the World Cup team doing well, but our own club teams going over to Europe, or they're coming here and competing. And so, I think that's it's the start of this mentality, and it's great. It's great to see.
Joe, thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
You made it.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks.
Awesome.
A different second half for you. You were much busier against the Metro Stars. What changed things around in that second half? Was it the penalty kick or something else?
No, I definitely think it was a penalty kick. It was a good through ball, and I came out, and I just came out a little late, and Frio made a good touch on it. And to be honest, I think that was definitely the play of the game that kind of changed the momentum in their favor. We went from dominating this game to being put on the defensive. So,
Joe, fans in the New York, New Jersey area are wondering, how do you guys have the Metro Stars number? This is 9 straight games where the Metro Stars have not beaten San Jose. You've been in goal for most of them, so you've got a pretty good perspective on it.
Yeah, you know what? I think New York for us, we always, come out to play against them. I think for me, it's kind of started, my first year. We were lucky to get a result out in New York when their team wasn't so good. And to tell you the truth, I don't understand how we're experiencing this success against such a good side time after time again. We seem to pull a result out when we go on the road. And I think it's just, a fact that we know this team is a good team. And, we want to kind of beat the East Coast teams as much as we can. And luckily for us tonight, we're fortunate to pull out 3 points.
Joe, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you guys. And have a great night and a safe trip back to New York.
Thanks.
Joe, thanks, buddy.
No problem. Bye.
Yeah. Wow.